Shakut, how are you, my friend? Habari.
Hello, sir. How are you?
Musa, how are you, boss? Very good. Yes. Very good. You do as well.
Always invest when the quotation is low. Yes. Always invest when the quotation is low.
Excuse me. Africa Hall. Today we are gathered not just as representatives sheds light on the scale of the humanitarian emergency in Sudan. First, invite His Excellency Dr. Abiy Ahmed, Prime Minister of the Federal Democratic.
Your Excellency Dr. William Ruto, President of the Republic of Kenya, Your Excellency Antonio Guterres, Secretary General of the United Nations.
My honor to invite His Excellency Dr. William Samoei Ruto, President of the Republic of Kenya, to deliver his remarks. Excellency Musa Faki Mohammed, Chairperson of the African Union Commission.
Dr. William Ruto, President of the Republic of Kenya, UAE, Honorable Ministers, Ambassadors, Your Excellency Dr. Workene, Executive of Conflict, to release Sudan from war and the continued fracture. Indeed, and I cannot stress this enough, that the Sudanese people deserve to live in peace in their own country by the AU Peace and Security Council to engage the ability on the desperate humanitarian situation that this conflict has caused, to support the Sudanese people to the road of peace.
At the Humanitarian Pledging Conference for Sudan held in Paris in April 2024, Kenya pledged $1 million to support humanitarian efforts in Sudan. I am pleased to reaffirm that Kenya will fulfill this pledge with an additional $1 million to demonstrate our support for the Sudanese people. Finally, we urge all external actors supporting the warring parties to refrain from actions that further endanger the lives and future of the Sudanese people. As members of the African Union and the United Nations, we must uphold the fundamental principles of respect for territorial integrity, national sovereignty, and good neighborliness in our pursuit for lasting peace and stability in the Sudan. I thank you for your attention. Our presence here today reaffirms our unwavering solidarity with the people of Sudan. It is incumbent upon all of us, member states and people of goodwill, alike to support ongoing efforts towards a peaceful resolution while addressing the urgent humanitarian needs of those affected by this conflict, especially women and children. Only through collective commitment and decisive action can we help restore stability and hope for a peaceful future in Sudan. Kenya continues to urge the warring parties to recognize that a military solution, if any, will not and has never brought sustainable peace. We encourage all Sudanese stakeholders to commit to a political resolution through genuine and inclusive dialogue. We continue in Kenya to provide a platform for different actors, political groups, civil society groups, to forge agreement, consensus on the way forward. And as a steadfast advocate for peace, Kenya, alongside IGAD, remains fully prepared to support and facilitate efforts towards a negotiated settlement. It is also imperative that we work together to alleviate the suffering of our Sudanese brothers and sisters. This crisis is worsened by the massive displacement of civilians, with an estimated 11 million people forced to flee their homes. The collapse of healthcare systems, the spread of preventable diseases, and the deterioration of medical infrastructure have further deepened humanitarian emergency. The crisis' regional impact is equally severe as neighboring countries are struggling with overstretched social services due to the growing refugee crisis. This situation demands urgent regional and global intervention. Any discussion of the humanitarian crisis in Sudan must acknowledge that this is a man-made disaster. It is deeply regrettable that the dire humanitarian situation in Sudan stems from a political crisis that has escalated into prolonged and senseless armed conflict. The obstruction of humanitarian access by parties to the conflict is simply unacceptable. We call upon all involved to facilitate unrestricted access for humanitarian convoys and healthcare workers, and to allow the resumption of agricultural activity in areas under their control.
This crisis is not just Sudanese. It is a regional and a global concern, impacting lives, livelihoods, and stability across the Horn of Africa and beyond. Global solidarity is essential to ensure the Sudanese people receive food, clean water, basic health care, including vaccines and medicines, and protection against violence. As the holy month of Ramadan approaches, urgent action is required, not just in words, but through tangible commitments to elevate suffering. Ethiopia will continue to stand with Sudan in its time of need, sharing from our limited resources and maintaining an open door policy for Sudanese seeking refuge. We urge donors, international organizations, and the private sector to increase their contributions and help bridge the severe resource gap faced by humanitarian actors. Despite our own challenges, we firmly believe that a neighbor in need is a neighbor indeed. Therefore, Ethiopia pledges a modest contribution of 15 million USD in solidarity with the people of the Sudan. Beyond this immediate assistance, the crisis demands an urgent political solution, as peace is a foundation for lasting recovery. We call upon all stakeholders to intensify efforts toward dialogue and a peaceful resolution. I urge all Sudanese stakeholders to choose